Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're driving a Jeep, Dodge, or Chrysler and that dreaded check engine light just popped on, and your scanner is showing a P0300 code, don't panic. Today, we're going to break down exactly what that code means, what causes it, and most importantly, how you can fix it yourself and save a trip to the mechanic. So, what is a P0300 code? Simply put, it stands for Random or Multiple Cylinder Misfire Detected. Unlike codes like P0301 or P0302 that point to a specific cylinder, P0300 tells you that your car's computer. The ECU has detected misfires happening in at least 2 or more cylinders, but it can't pinpoint which ones. This randomness is what makes it a little trickier to diagnose than a single-cylinder misfire. When this happens, you might notice some symptoms. Your engine might feel rough when it's idling. You could experience a noticeable loss of power when you're accelerating, and your fuel economy will likely take a nosedive. In more severe cases, your engine might stall, or you might even smell unburnt fuel coming from your exhaust. That's a sign you should stop driving immediately, as it can damage your catalytic converter, which is a very expensive repair. Alright, let's get our hands dirty and figure out what's causing this. The P0300 code can be triggered by a handful of common culprits, and they usually fall into 3 main categories: spark, fuel, or air. The most common cause, and the best place to start, is the ignition system. This includes your spark plugs and ignition coils. Over time, spark plugs wear out. The electrodes can get fouled with carbon or simply wear down, creating a weak spark that can't properly ignite the air-fuel mixture. A bad ignition coil, which is responsible for sending high voltage to the spark plug, can also cause a misfire. So, how do we diagnose this? Your best friend here is a good OBD2 scan tool. A more advanced scanner can often show you live data, including misfire counts for each specific cylinder. Even if the code is a general P0300, the live data might reveal that cylinders 2 and 4, for example, have a much higher misfire count than the others. This is a huge clue. Let's say you don't have a fancy scanner. You can still do some detective work. Start with a visual inspection. Pop the hood and take a look at your spark plugs. Are they old? Do they look worn or covered in gunk? If you can't remember the last time they were changed, it's probably time for a new set. They're inexpensive and a fundamental part of engine maintenance. Next, let's check the ignition coils. A simple trick is to swap them around. For example, if your scanner suggests a misfire on cylinder 1, you can swap the ignition coil from cylinder 1 with the one from cylinder 2. Then, clear the codes and run the engine again. If the misfire code now shows up as a P0302, meaning the misfire moved to cylinder 2, you found your culprit. A bad ignition coil. It's a straightforward and effective way to isolate the problem. If your spark plugs and coils are good, the next place to look is the fuel system. Clogged or dirty fuel injectors are another common cause of a P0300 code. A fuel injector's job is to spray a fine mist of fuel into the cylinder. If it's clogged, it might not deliver enough fuel, or it might spray an uneven pattern, leading to an incomplete burn and a misfire. You can try running a high-quality fuel injector cleaner through your system as a first step. Sometimes, that's all it takes to clear up minor blockages. For a more thorough test, you'd need to check fuel pressure to make sure the fuel pump is working correctly. A significant drop in fuel pressure can starve all cylinders of fuel, causing a random misfire situation. Less common, but still possible, are issues like a vacuum leak. A crack in a vacuum hose or a bad intake manifold gasket can let unmetered air into the engine. This throws off the air-fuel ratio that the ECU is trying to maintain, which can lead to lean misfires across multiple cylinders. You can often find a vacuum leak by carefully listening for a hissing sound around the engine bay while it is running. Some people use a smoke machine to pump smoke into the intake, and wherever the smoke escapes, that's your leak. So, to recap the repair process, start with the basics. Check and replace your spark plugs if they're old. Use your scan tool or the coil swapping method to test your ignition coils. If the ignition system checks out, move on to the fuel system. Try a fuel injector cleaner, and if that doesn't work, consider getting your fuel pressure tested. Finally, inspect for vacuum leaks. Fixing a P0300 code is all about being systematic. By following these steps, you can diagnose and solve the problem without just throwing parts at it. It'll save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this guide helps you get your Jeep, Dodge, or Chrysler running smoothly again. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more DIY auto repair guides. Drop a comment below if you've tackled this code before and let us know what the fix was for you. Until next time, happy wrenching.